Today we're going to be doing some American style nunchaku techniques. Alright, so the first thing we're going to be doing is going to be our front switch. So front switch is basically the same thing as a number one upward strike, right? Except for we're typically staying a little bit closer in. I'm not quite reaching out and trying to hit with this. Also with ASN style, we will use more of a middle grip than a long grip. Alright, so we're going to do this for 1 minute, just practicing our front switches, just like this. 1 minute. Ready. I'm not ready. Ready, begin. All right, so we're just switching, just like this. Now when you're doing this, try not to do this. I see this every now and then with some beginners where they're trying to avoid hitting themselves in the head, right? You avoid hitting yourself in the head by controlling where the chuck's going. Right? So keep that in mind whenever you're doing this. We're just letting go of the top one, dropping it down, and bringing it right back up, just like this. So, like some of the other nunchaku techniques, the other hand, until it gets ready to catch, is just going to go right to the center line. But a lot of these front switches will go so fast from one to the other that you're kind of going directly into that next position. Right? So we're just kind of warming up here. If you want, you can reach out a little bit longer if you'd like to get a little bit more shoulder activation in there. More than welcome to do that. Keep this going. If you mess up and you make a mistake or you don't quite catch it, just do it again. It's all right. Keep this going. And that's time. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do is gonna be an outward figure eight strike. So an outward figure eight strike looks like this, right? So I'm gonna end up catching it right here, but it's gonna start over the shoulder. Again, I'm holding it kind of in middle grip. I can do a long grip here if I would like. When I go for this, I'm going to go towards the inside first. So it's gonna do one spin on the inside, then go to the outside, and then I'll catch it underneath. And again, I want you to try to catch this with this 90-degree angle here. So as I do my strike, I catch it, boom, I'm looking for that 90-degree angle. This is what's very common, will be something like this. Now you can correct this most of the time just by flexing at this wrist and pulling this pinky in and keeping a little tension here, and that'll create that 90 degrees that I'm looking for. So just try not to relax the hand too much, opening it up, and that'll cause this chuck to point in towards you. All right, so we're going to go outward figure eight strike, then we're gonna raise it up, do a front switch, and then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Catch it underneath, up, switch, and outward figure eight. Now we're gonna do this one for 2 minutes. Ready? Begin. So, outward figure eight strike, raise it up, switch, outward figure eight strike, up, switch, outward figure eight, up, switch, outward figure eight, up, switch, figure eight. Again, still looking for that 90 degrees. Now when you're doing this, I want this figure eight to be at your own head level. I don't want you to be doing the figure eight down here towards that chest level. So at your head level, as you're doing this, up, switch, outward figure eight. Keep this going. If you can start moving around with it, right? I can be walking as I'm doing my strikes. I can, if I need to, just stay still. If you want to, you can start running while doing the strikes, assuming you have enough space and that you're doing the technique well enough. Again, still catching that 90 in order to be able to do this. Keep this going. We got about 45 seconds. Keep this going. Don't stop. Try to pick up the speed if you can. Try to have whichever side you're striking, have that leg in front. Right, so you can be doing these step throughs. Keep this pace going. Speed it up as much as you can while still having a good technique, still catching it each time. Now I don't want you bouncing this, right? So a lot of people, they'll start doing this and they'll start bouncing it up after this, right? Here, because they know it's gonna go back on top, don't do that. Catch it, good catch, raise it up, switch. All right, we want that positive control every time. Those good catches every time. And that's time. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do is gonna be a front strike. So that position that we're on here, right, the 90-degree angle, that's where it's gonna start at. So when we're doing this, we're gonna punch forward. Notice how my palm is facing towards the inside. As I'm going forward, I'm going to let this fall out. My palm is going to go up towards the sky, and I'm going to do a circular motion here, and then I'm going to catch it back underneath. Now as I do this catch, right, so I'm bouncing it, I want the chuck that I would be striking with, the tip of that is going to go on my side, so it's going to wrap, right? It'll wrap my side as I do this. And now as I'm going for this catch, I'm going to bring it back, and I'm going to raise my elbow up as this comes down, and then I'm going to clamp down on it. So it'll look like this, right? So I have to wait for it to clear my elbow before I clamp down. If you do the strike and you start to bring the elbow down too early, you're going to hit the inside of your elbow right here, and you're going to have a lot of bruises. I had a lot of bruises for a long time while learning to get that timing correct. So wait for it to pass, and then get your catch. Still catching with that 90 degrees. All right, ready? We're going to do the same thing, 2 minutes. So we're going to strike once, catch it, up, switch, and now we're just going to bring it right down to the side and strike, right? Up, switch, and then bring it underneath and strike. 2 minutes, begin. Front strike, catch it, up, switch, down underneath. Remember, palm goes up first, circle this around, bounce it off your body, and catch it underneath. Raise it up, switch it, and then just drop it down and catch. That's called a simple down, by the way. Palm goes up, strikes around, through, catch, simple up, front switch, simple down. Notice how it's on my arm as I'm striking through this, and I'm curving, catch. Now keep doing that same thing. I'm going to talk about some more details. I don't want you to shoot out hard and then try to cut the angle. Right? You might not be able to hear this because I'm wearing a microphone, but it's causing this sort of a sound, right? So I have that. Hopefully you can hear that sound. If you hear that popping sound, it means you're shooting it too hard first and cutting the angle too hard. I want it more of a rounded. You should have tension on the string the entire time as you're striking. If you go forward and then the tension gets loose, right, and then it hits the tension again, that's what creates that popping sound, but it also loses control for a second. Strike around, keep that control. Up, switch, down, front strike. Up, switch, down, front strike. Now to get more power with this, turn your hips, right? It's like if I was swinging a baseball bat, I would turn my hips. It's the same way. I'm turning my hips to get more power. Keep the tension on the chuck the whole time whenever you're doing this. Up, switch, down, front strike. Up, switch, down, front strike. Up, switch, down. Strike, bring it back, up, switch, down, strike, back, up, switch, down. All right, and that is time. All right, from here what we're going to do is we're going to do a combination. So this combination is going to be an inward figure eight block, all right? So we've done inward figure eights before. When I say inward figure eight block, it's going to pass either 4 or 6 times. So each time you do an inward figure eight, or an outward figure eight for that matter, you should hear the sound as the string passes over, right? So if you're doing this, you should be able to hear the sound of the string passing over the tip of the chuck that you're holding. I want you to count those, right? So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and that would be an inward figure eight block. Or I can do 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up. Right? Either one of those. So we're going to start off inward figure eight, just like that. Inward figure eight block. Do 4 or 6. Raise it up, catch it over. Now we're going to do an outward figure eight strike. Brings it down below. Then we're going to front strike, and then we simple up. And now it repeats on the other side. So now I'm going to let go of the top hand. The bottom hand's going to do inward figure eight block. All right, raise it up, outward figure eight strike, front strike, up, and then it repeats again. So top hand, let's go, inward figure eight. All right, so I think you got the pattern by now, hopefully. Let's go ahead and let's work this for 2 minutes. Begin. All right, so inward figure eight, outward figure eight strike, front strike, up, and now top hand, let's go, inward figure eight with the other one. Outward figure eight strike, front strike, up, inward figure eight, outward figure eight, front strike, up, inward figure eight, outward figure eight, front strike, up, inward figure eight, outward figure eight, front strike, up, in, out, front, up, in, out, front, and up. So I'll slow it down a little bit, inward figure eight, do either 4 or 6, raise it up. Now when you're doing that raise up, make sure that you just did your inside circle and then you're coming up, right? Here, if I go and I do my outside circle, then chances are it's gonna be slightly angled towards the inside, and if I raise it up, clack, right? So I wanna go from the outside, or from finishing the inside circle and then raise it up towards the outside, all right? So inward figure eight, up, outward figure eight strike, front strike, up, inward figure eight, outward figure eight, front strike, up, inward figure eight, outward figure eight, front strike, up. Keep this going. Again, every time we catch it underneath, still looking for that 90-degree angle there. Inward figure eight, outward figure eight, front strike, up, in, out, front, up, in, out, front, up, in, out, front, up. Keep this going. If you want, you can practice pivoting around, moving around with this, up to you, all right? If you feel more comfortable with it, practice it while moving. All right, and that is time. So that is all I've got for you today. Like I said, these are some American style nunchaku techniques, so a little bit different than some of the other ones you've been using. I will usually try to use wood when I'm doing ASN style, and I'll use the foam ones when I'm doing the WNA style. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. If you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, comment, do all that fun stuff. I will see you tomorrow. If you have any questions, just type it down below. All right, have a great day.